Did you know that the story of Steins Gate is built from real conspiracy theories, scientific fears, and urban legends that people actually believed? Behind this world of science fiction lies a web of real-world references, from mysterious internet time travelers, to Norse gods, to global shadow governments. Some of them are hilarious, some of them are terrifying, and some are so real that they make Steins Gate feel like it could actually happen. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the inspirations behind the anime and visual novel of Steins Gate, and uncover the science, conspiracies, mythology, and pop culture that shaped this masterpiece. Let's start with the backbone of Steins Gate, real science. The most famous example is, of course, the IBM 5100. This portable computer from the 1970s actually existed. It was one of the first small computers that engineers could carry around. What made it fascinating was that it had a hidden function, the ability to debug old legacy code, something only a handful of engineers knew about. In Steins Gate, the IBM 5100 is the key to cracking CERN secrets. And this isn't just random, it's directly pulled from the real-world story of John Titor. But we'll come back to him later. Then we have CERN, who is just a letter away from the very real CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Geneva in our world. Both have a large hadron collider, and both have been at the center of public fear. In the early 2000s, a genuine concern emerged that the LHC could create microscopic black holes, exactly as Dara describes in the show. In 2008, two men actually tried to sue CERN to stop the LHC out of fear of the world ending. Of course, CERN dismissed those fears, but Steins Gate takes that rumor and runs with it. In the story, CERN is secretly creating black holes to experiment with time travel. They also use the ECHELON network to collect communications related to time travel. That's how they tracked Okabe's first email. In real life, ECHELON is an actual American secret surveillance program for the purpose of global interception of private and commercial communications. Its existence was revealed to the public in 2003 when Edward Snowden leaked tons of NSA files and documents. The network has a lot of satellite interception stations around the world, and the Misawa Air Base in Japan is one of the likely places that has one installed. And then there are the computer doomsday bugs. The Y2K or Millennium Bug, a predicted computer problem where early software, using only 2 digits for the year, could misinterpret 00 as 1900 instead of 2000, causing widespread failures in computer systems and infrastructure. Widespread fear of computer-induced chaos led to massive global efforts and costs to update software and hardware, ultimately resulting in the transition to the year 2000 passing largely without major incident, though some minor glitches were reported. John Titor tied the year 2038 bug into his predictions, and Steins Gate cleverly folds those fears into its timeline lore. Then there are the Nixie tubes used in the divergence meters display. They were used for displaying numbers for scientific equipment in the 70s, but they have slowly been replaced by LEDs because of their convenience. The cathode ray tubes, CRT, are vacuum tubes containing one or more electron guns, and a phosphorescent screen used to view images. These electron guns shoot electron beams onto the screen, which is why it can act as a lifter to inject electrons into the phone wave. Okabe nicknaming Yugo Tenuji as Mr. Braun and Nei Tenuji as Sister Braun are references to the real-world inventor of cathode ray tubes, German physicist Ferdinand Braun. Funny enough, Yugo Tenuji's codename in FB also references him. And finally, the time leap machine, the idea of sending memories back into your past self. Believe it or not, this isn't pure fantasy. Real neuroscience research has experimented with mapping neuron activity using electrodes and EEG devices. Companies like Emotive have tried creating devices that can read simple brain waves. Converting those signals into digital data is the basis of neuroprosthetics. Of course, we're nowhere near uploading human consciousness into a phone, but that's the beauty of science fiction. Steins Gate takes the real seed of an idea, and pushes it to its most dramatic conclusion. Now let's shift gears into conspiracy theories and urban legends, the heart of Steins Gate. The biggest inspiration, without question, is John Titor. Between 2000 and 2001, an anonymous poster appeared on internet forums claiming to be a time traveler from the year 2036. He said he was on a mission to retrieve an IBM 5100 to help debug computer systems in his timeline, He warned of civil wars in the United States, and he talked about something called worldline divergence, where small differences in timelines could lead to completely different futures. If that sounds familiar, it should. The divergence meter in Steins Gate comes directly from his writings. Titor even claimed that the divergence between world lines was always less than 2%, which mirrors how the anime tracks changes down to the thousandth of a percent. Titor also claimed that his time machine, the C-204 gravity distortion unit, worked by manipulating micro-singularities to create a Kerr black hole, forming a closed time-like curve. This isn't just sci-fi jargon, it's based on real theoretical physics around rotating black holes. The name of the time machine used by Suzuha to help Okabe save Kurisu is C-204, the C is for Christina. He also posted diagrams of his time machine, which fans later compared to Suzuha's time machine design. His predictions of a future civil war in the US and a subsequent world war that kills billions map perfectly onto the beta attractor field's dystopia. The show didn't just borrow his name, it built its entire central plot around his legend. But Titor isn't the only conspiracy woven in. There's the Philadelphia experiment of 1943, where the US Navy allegedly tried to make a ship invisible, and supposedly ended up teleporting it instead. The horrific side effect. Sailors were said to fuse into the ship's hull. Steins Gate mirrors this with the infamous Jellyman experiments, where time travelers arrive as grotesque lumps of flesh. Then there's the Montauk Project, a supposed secret US military program about time travel and psychic experiments. And the MK-Ultra, on the other hand, was a very real CIA project that tested mind control through drugs and psychological manipulation. Both of these ideas echo in the Committee of 300 and CERN's secret experiments in the series. Speaking of which, the Committee of 300 is another direct lift from conspiracy lore. This is a theory about a global shadow government made up of elites who control world politics, banking, and science. In Steins Gate, and across the whole sci-fi adventure universe, the Committee of 300 are the ultimate puppet masters. And of course, there's the Mandela Effect, the false memory phenomenon where large groups of people remember something incorrectly, like Mandela dying in prison, or the spelling of the Berenstain Bears. In Steins Gate, Okabe's reading Steiner is basically the Mandela Effect turned on its head. He remembers what really happened when the timeline shifts, while everyone else only remembers the false version. Even Okabe's alter ego, Huin-Kuma, ties back to an urban legend. In Japan, there was a conspiracy theorist who became known online for muttering strange, cryptic phrases. He was a con man named Kenji Kita. He convinced people he was a secret agent, using phrases like La Jada Sostiana. That doesn't mean anything but sound cool and cryptic. Sound familiar? Okabe's La Yoda Stasella is a direct wink to this exact story, blending fact and fiction into his character. Finally, the villainous Dr. Nakabachi isn't just a trope. He's a direct parody of the very real, and very eccentric, Japanese inventor Dr. Yoshiro Nakamatsu. Holding over 3,000 patents, Dr. Nakamatsu is a self-proclaimed genius behind inventions like the floppy disk, and is known for his flamboyant personality and bizarre ideas, like believing he gets his best ideas while diving underwater. Steins Gate also pulls heavily from real physics and philosophy about time. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics says that every decision creates parallel universes. That's exactly what we see in the visual novel and anime, when the John Titor from Steins Gate explains that every choice branches off into a new world line. But they add another layer, the attractor field theory. This is a fictional concept, but a clever one. It says that no matter how many small changes you make, there are certain events that are destined to happen. The world line always pulls toward them. This explains why Mayuri's death feels unavoidable across multiple attempts. Then there's the butterfly effect, the idea that tiny actions, like sending a text message, can ripple out into massive consequences. It's a constant theme in Okabe's experiments. And of course, Steins Gate, like every time-traveling story, plays with paradoxes. Suzuha's existence depends on a timeline that may or may not exist, and Okabe constantly dances around the grandfather paradox whenever he changes history. By blending real theories with fictional ones, Steins Gate creates a time travel system that feels frighteningly believable. Beyond science and conspiracies, Steins Gate also pulls from mythology. Many of the operation names that Okabe gives, Ragnarok, Yggdrasil, Skuld, are drawn from Norse mythology. Ragnarok is the apocalypse, Yggdrasil is the great tree of worlds, and Skuld is one of the Norns, the fates of destiny. She represents the future. These names reflect the story's cycle of destruction and rebirth. And then there's Okabe's name itself. Huin means Phoenix Temple, a symbol of rebirth. Kuma means mad demon. Together, they create the persona of the mad scientist, who constantly dies and is reborn across world lines, fighting against fate. Of course, Steins Gate is also full of references to pop culture and otaku life. The Komima of Steins Gate is a clear reference to Comiket, which is the world's largest doujinshi fair, held on summer and winter each year at Japan Big Sight, just like in Steins Gate. The Back to the Future movies are the most obvious. D-Mail is short for DeLorean Mail, referencing the name of the time-traveling car from the movie. Another name suggested by Mayuri for the D-Mail was Back to the Mail. The name The Mail That Leapt Through Time refers to the Girl That Leapt Through Time animation movie. Okabe's exaggerated poses and dramatic names feel straight out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. All the futuristic gadget also references anime and games. The Future Gadget number 1, Bit Particle Cannon, is a reference to Mega Particle Cannon of Mobile Suit Gundam series. Future Gadget number 2, Bamboo Copter Camera Alternative Edition Ver 2.67 is a reference to Bamboo Copter of Doraemon. Future Gadget number 4, Mode Snake, is a reference to Metal Gear Solid Rising. Future Gadget number 5, Once Again, I Made a Worthless Object, by Goman, is a reference to a quote from Lupin the Third series. Future Gadget number 6, Siloam Saber, is a reference to Lightsaber from Star Wars. And Future Gadget number 8, Phone Wave, is a reference to Einstein's tachyonic antitelephone theory. As you can see, they constantly throw in references and memes, so many that I can do a video only of them and it will be an hour long. I kid, but this cements the story in otaku subculture. Even literature sneaks in. In the visual novel, Okabe compares himself to the protagonist of Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, adding a layer of Japanese literary influence. Suzuha's Time Machine seems to draw inspiration from movies like Time Cop and older shows like The Time Tunnel. Mayuri's obsession with moai statues and UPA toys ties into real Japanese collectible culture, while also nodding to alien conspiracy memes. The world of ECHELON is a parody of the real Site 2 channel, the birthplace of internet urban legends, and the exact kind of place where John Titor stories spread like wildfire. And finally, the setting isn't just anime Tokyo. It's a hyper-accurate depiction of Akihabara in the late 2000s. Fans have made pilgrimages to visit the exact spots where Okabe and the lab mems walked. Till this day they keep posting comparison shots on Twitter and Reddit of the exact streets and cafes featured in Steins Gate. Have you ever been to Akiba and seen these spots yourself? I would, but I'm too poor. This attention to real-world detail grounds the incredible story in a place you can actually visit. For visual novel players, the connections go even deeper. Steins Gate is part of the larger science adventure series. We already talked about the Committee of 300, the true antagonist in all the science adventure series. The concept of attractor fields exists across all the stories as a law of the multiverse. And the Jellyman experiments echo the disturbing biotechnology seen in Chaos Head. Characters from other games pop up in the background, and events like the New Gen murders from Chaos Head are mentioned in passing. This creates a rich, interconnected universe where the events of one game have ripple effects in another, all built on a foundation of twisted real-world science and conspiracy. In the end, Steins Gate works because it blurs the line between reality and fiction. By taking real science, real conspiracies, real myths, and real internet culture, and twisting them just enough, that it feels so plausible, so immersive, and so enduring. From John Titor's strange prophecies, to CERN's black holes, to Norse gods and Japanese legends, Steins Gate is a masterpiece of world building. That's why, more than a decade later, fans are still uncovering new references, and still asking the same question: what if it's real? After all, the choice of Steins Gate is yours. What was your favorite real-world connection? Did I miss any? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite anime. El Sai Konru.